I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just looking good. No, I'll just do it in front of her.
He's kept going. He scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net. That's Coleman. Played in the game. And a superb goal. Johnny did it. Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson! The ball at her. His first goal in 13 days. Towards Star sticking his hand to the score. Oh, Paddy Madden. It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we got a small house, but we got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
Hello and welcome to SK3 TV, the show taking a sideways look back at all things what have happened at County in the past week. I'm not even sure how you can look sideways and back. It's too late. I said it now. A committee of self-appointed thought police, if you will, completely live, completely unfiltered, completely unencumbered and unhindered by what? I don't know. Mostly though, completely free of charge. Joining us tonight as ever, especially buoyant because her request for annual leave has been approved. Big green tick next to that. It's Hannah. Hello.
Hello. I'd forgotten about that. I keep forgetting that I'm going away, which is nice. But yeah, I will try. I think at 7 p.m. No, 8 p.m. isn't it? That's 3 p.m. Eastern time. I think I might make a fleeting appearance. I can do the whole like Brit abroad on holiday thing with a football shirt and a drink with an umbrella, and sounds quite nice.
Perfect.
Doesn't it?
That's all I've ever wanted.
Matt could have come along as well. I'll be in Fort Lauderdale. So
you get the Florida Hatters up and running and get them all on here. That's fair, isn't it? You can't say fairer than that. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. Right. You vamp for 2 seconds because I've just realised I'm connected to the wrong headphones. So
oh no! So if it's not headphones, it's Wi-Fi. I feel like Wi-Fi's gone well for the last couple of weeks. So hoping for no similar interruptions in the course of this evening. Ben is joining us in about 10 minutes. We're back, right? I should say Ben's joining us in 10 minutes. So
I'm back like ballroom dancing.
Okay, that's a new one for me. But yeah.
I mean, it's been back for about 25 years, hasn't it? But you know.
Yeah.
Admin though, we'll crack some admin out. We are, of course, very proud to be sponsored by Kitchen that we discussed at length last week. And of course, if you book on the Gorilla website before February, then you get a whopping 50% off your food bill. Andy has really enjoyed. I mean, he enjoyed it anyway. That's he sponsored us because shared ethos and all that. But he's particularly enjoyed the last 2 weeks because we had all the pie puns the week before last. And then last week we just basically wanked him off for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And if anyone goes, I really enjoyed because it's always a bit dicey, isn't it? When you recommend something, you feel a bit invested. When someone says like, "Oh, I'm going to go now," like you made it sound so good, and then you're really, really over-invested in them having a nice time. So I quite enjoyed seeing people's photos and the like, "It's the best meal I've ever had" comments, because it made me feel like I hadn't let people down. So
I'm always like that. That's why there's loads of TV shows. There was a discussion on Yellowboard last week about films, led by Ben, who's going to be joining us later on. And he was basically saying he's not big on films, and I think I'm the same. Like, I've not seen The Godfather, and I made the mistake of mentioning that in the thread.
Oh yeah.
And then people just kept saying, "Well, you've got to watch The Godfather," which just makes me, because I'm a petty and spiteful individual. I just knock it further down my list.
Demand avoidance. I've never seen Star Wars, and people are very funny about that when you confess that. I've also not seen Godfather. my current one at the moment is Stranger Things. I've not seen Stranger Things.
You'd love Stranger Things. Stranger Things is great.
No, I didn't like when you all told me to watch Dexter. I mean, I did under duress, but I don't think I necessarily enjoyed it. But I have now found out that there's a serial killer called Hannah in it.
Yeah.
So she was the only one when I was trying to find serial killers called Hannah. I can't even remember where that conversation came from.
No, it's a weird group chat. A very strange group chat.
She was the only one I could find, so maybe I will persevere with it because
she's probably the morally the worst fictional character I've ever had a crush on, I think.
Excellent.
I mean, it's not quite up there with my Myra Hindley crush as a kid, but
no.
It's close. It's close. Thanks, Lewis. Yes, she is doing a podcast with us. You were alive in the 80s. You'd love Stranger Things.
Yeah, I was. And one of my friends in the States went to meet Mae Whitman, who I don't think is in Stranger Things, but I think it was part of some like MegaCon thing in Orlando at the moment. So she was supposed to meet Millie Bobby Brown, but Millie Bobby Brown cancelled. And so I've seen all her photos with the Stranger Things cast, and I have no idea who any of these people are.
That's the worry. They're all basically children. That's the thing I don't like. It's like Harry Potter all over again, just having these children who've achieved more than I ever will in my life. Dan Moult has made a fantastic point. He says, I hadn't watched Shawshank Redemption until very recently. However, it was always in my top 3 films when asked, just to fit in. He is absolutely correct. I don't think anyone actually believes that The Shawshank Redemption is their favourite film. I think they just say it. We had this conversation at the weekend. And this kind of spins back into the whole lack of jeopardy thing. I like easy to watch, nothing that's going to make me particularly stressed or angry or, just generally not happy. So my favourite films are like Legally Blonde and Mean Girls. Correct.
Which I know is insipid and
that's fine.
Really shallow, but that's because films are an escapism. Horror films, and that's always what's put me off Stranger Things, that it's a bit spooky and a bit like, what do the girls say? Jump something.
Jump scare.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah.
I don't really fancy that.
That's the most down with the kids and cool and hip I've ever sounded. I'm really happy with that. Oh, I'll tell you what my all-time... what my favourite film of the moment is, Hannah. It is the highlights of County's 2-0 win against Barnsley on Saturday.
2-0? 2-0?
So 2-1. I guessed 2-0 on Desi's blog. I do apologise. It's still been in my head that I should... I did say 2-1 in the text to him, and then I was like, no, and I changed it to 2-0 at the last minute.
Like, right, so you're to blame for our...
We're still top of the league. We're Jeopardy fans, so we're causing some for ourselves. But we'll get on to that 2-1 win after this. So there's many ways when you're doing this and talking about the matches. There's very much a point where you think, oh well, very much the same as last week, but that's okay because we're winning. If you're losing due to the same mistakes every week, it gets a bit boring. But again, it was just this case of a very good first half, and I never worried that we weren't gonna get all 3 points. There was no point where I was panicky, but it was just a bit, oh God, they are. I mean, I think Ben had one good save to make, I think, fairly early in the first half. But other than that, it was the last minute before they did anything. Was that fair?
Yeah, I think it wasn't one of those games that dragged. Like the second half against Orient dragged. Like it was just waiting for them to equalise. Whereas it didn't feel quite as bad as that. They were obviously better in the second half, but never really felt good enough. Davis Keeler-Dunn scoring against us is just standard. So, again, you could he'd only just gone there, I think, when we played them last. But he, I've said all along that I'd have had him in a heartbeat in the summer. But he, last minute, didn't really feel like much of a threat other than that.
Even their fans didn't get too excited about a last minute goal.
No.
There was no roaring them on to like
No.
come straight out of the box after the restart. It was just I think most of them were already on the way out. I noticed a few of them like on the way out, like loitering near the exits, and then they kind of like craned the necks around and went, "Oh, we scored," and then just carried on leaving anyway. Right, we've all been there.
DKD was getting a bit frustrated with Ben. He was doing nothing wrong. But you know, we say this all the time that we don't kind of shit house. We don't normally time waste. But Ben will kind of push it to the upper limits in that kind of situation, which you would thoroughly expect him to do. Like, why wouldn't you? But David Keeldon stood there like tapping his watch at the referee, like his non-existent watch, obviously, because he's wristed at the referee, and then he was trying to like get the ball off him when I presume it was after I don't know when it was, but it was a good game. I very much enjoyed the first half. That ball forward from Lewis Bay was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm glad he's been mentioned actually, because I still don't think he's fully fit yet. But we got what we needed out of him on Saturday. The ball forward that was dreadfully dealt with by one of the worst centre backs I've ever seen play at Edgeley Park. Really, Donovan Pines, which is I always expect that to be like something in a teen movie. It's like, oh yeah,
he does.
Gonna come over. His parents have gone to their cabin in Donovan Pines.
Or isn't that where like Back to the Future, where the DeLorean goes from?
Yeah. Gotta get back from Donovan Pines, Doc. Yeah. It's just, he was truly torrid. Like really, really bad. I mean, we've seen some terrible centre backs a lot of the time in a county shirt.
Although scored a 7 in the league paper.
Are they mental? I went on Barnsley's forum like straight after the game and like looked through it like what they were saying during the match, and pretty much everyone was unanimous in saying he was absolutely terrible and they wanted rid of him. It was just awful.
Think I was listening to a few things made me laugh from Charlie's post-match thing about him being grumpy and he was only going to go home and have one beer, and he was sure that people would be happier than him, and I think it says a lot about the ambition of the club for the next few months, in that, it's not good enough to score in the first half and just hang on. Like, we should have gone for a third. But the other one that really made me laugh at this point in the season, and the proximity to him arriving with us, was saying about Brad Hill's very much having a role at Norwich City, and it was very much like, lads, do not fall in love with this lone player. We're not doing this again.
Do you think we're whatever division we're in next season? Do you think we're resigned to a summer of County's tweets just featuring County's Carabao tweet just getting, when's Brad Hill signing? That's going to be in it, because he was. It's such an accomplished debut. I think there were a couple of points in the second half where he was caught ball watching, like when a cross came in. Which was a criticism of Callum Connolly early on from me. But he was just... I've never been a fan of the... Well, I don't know. I can't decide if I am, because it makes sense. But at the same time, is it a bit woke, giving a new signing the man of the match?
No, because I think he thoroughly deserved it. And
I think he did in this case, but we've had it in the past where he haven't.
The league paper named him star player of the game as well. So I don't think there was any bias. Everyone that I've spoken to who is associated with the club and not was like, no, it was a no-brainer. I had a couple of I told you so's. I told you that you were going to love him. And do you know what? He was obviously was in the 1883 afterwards, and just a genuinely really lovely young man.
And magnificent hair.
20 years old. Like, I've got a photo with him, and it looks like he's gone for a day out at the football with his mum. But he just really, really sweet, friendly with the little kids, like, but kind of actively going to play with them. Because, you know, when you're a new player, I think people don't approach you. They don't feel like they know you. They maybe don't know. Like I remember, I think it was Aki Wright when he signed, being in the pop side, and me kind of making the effort to go and talk to him because he was kind of stood on the fringes and no one was talking to him. And it
like
was
me
a
at a disco,
bit like that on Saturday. But he was laughing, joking, he was apologising for being stinky because everyone was having the photos taken with him. And I just a really nice lad, and I hope already that he has a very successful career.
Well, from one man with magnificent hair to another, it's Ben. Hello, Ben.
Oh, you caught me with a mouthful of eating cheese Doritos. Well, I'm sorry. But yeah, what are you talking about me then, Hannah? A lovely something man with luscious hair. You're not me. Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
How are we doing? All right.
Yeah, I feel energised. I've just come back from a hit wanker class, so I'm all endorphins pumping.
What does
that
high intensity?
The weekend hit wankers.
Endorphins pumping. I feel like I've deviated. My normal state of mind is like a 4 or 5 out of 10, and never break out of that. So I'm like a 4.1 out of 10 now. So here we are.
Oh.
Yeah, let's have it. Do it. There was a man
doing that before creating content.
Shorts today.
Just the shorts.
Just he had top on as well, thankfully. I'm short, and socks and trainers. But he had Stockport County shorts on. I had a Stockport County training top on, but our eyes didn't meet. So if that was you, hello. Hope you enjoyed your class.
Cheers for.
Let's embrace and
Before though, not after. No one wants that.
You don't want the what was that line, like the sweaty grip of the moron, like on
Peep Show. Yeah. Well, we were just talking about Brad Hill's a very accomplished debut. Ben, would you agree?
Yeah, completely. Like genuinely, didn't even in a good way. Didn't even notice him that he was playing until about 20 minutes in, and then because he was just good. He did everything. Yeah. It wasn't, it's not like he was, dribbling past 6 players or pinging 60-yard balls or anything like that. He was just really accomplished and just did everything with no fuss, which is exactly what you want from someone in that position, particularly on their debut. And yeah, if he's that young with such a luscious head of hair, then he's got it all going for him, hasn't he?
The hair is very much the order of the day, mind you. Me and Ben have got issues in that. Yeah, well, I'm going to be looking like you in about 6 months. I'm very close to just taking the plunge and getting ready. I can't wait, mate. Can't wait. I'm going to start a shirt collection. It's going to be mental. It's like mithering people. It's going to be brilliant. You have a competitor.
I don't mind the people. That's the thing, though. I don't mind the people. Just put that. I don't mind the players. I mind the fans.
Yeah. Well, some of our fans could do with being taken down a peg or two.
It's not the dumb thing any wannabe shirt collectors. Don't go messaging players on Twitter. It's not what you do. Cheating.
Weird. Yeah, it is cheating. Instagram and Facebook. That's all right. Another thing to pick out from Saturday, actually, Tanto playing more. As much as he's done all right playing off the left in that Louis Barry role the last few weeks, he was very much a central striker for large periods of Saturday, which is where he was and it was much more like we saw him last season when he was in that front two. I
don't want to say he's ineffective when he plays out wide, but he doesn't play to his strengths, and we don't get the best out of him. So that's probably definition of ineffective. It's just a bit of a waste playing him out there. And I know he does the kind of the hard stuff in terms of like stretching the defence, and by doing that creates more space for Wootton and all that kind of thing. But I don't know if the benefits of that outweigh what we lose by playing him out wide. So I much prefer him a little bit more central. He can't play the Wootton role. I think we've tried that a couple of times and it just doesn't work. So he needs another kind of body alongside him. But I think he was good. He was. I really liked that completely inadvertent piece of skill down by the dugout that he did. There's no way he meant that. I'm not having that. Yeah.
It really did look superb. I think even the Barnsley fans did a bit of a woo, like they thought it was deliberate or something. I love it when that happens. Yeah, absolutely superb. Well, from one starring debut from a defender to another, we'll get on to the random non-league county goal of the week. I don't even have to give the information about it because Ben's here. It's fine. And then we will get on to some off the pitch goings on because there's been quite a few in the past few days.
Sam Walker with the set piece. County are not even attempting to pretend the short corner's an option. It's going to be played in by Walker. The glancing header, and there's the goal at the far post. The Hatters have taken the lead, and finally the breakthrough for County. It was a brilliant flick on at the near post, stabbed in at the far post, and what a finish. I think it was arriving late. Hogan arrived late. It's a goal on his debut for Liam Hogan. It was a brilliant flick, but it was Hogan arriving at the far stick to put that in. It's a goal on his debut for Liam Hogan, and County lead by 1-0.
Tell us about that, Ben. Nearly 5 years to the day.
Almost. Penultimate home game before lockdown and all that. Last game before my son was born, because the Barnet game afterwards was... I took him to that when he was like 12 days old. And if I hadn't have done that, he wouldn't have got a chance to go to a game for a long time. So, yeah, Hogan's debut, won 1-0, Bromley. Yeah, good. What blows my mind about that season and like the early part of the following season under Jim is the combination of players you get who played alongside each other. Like Liam Hogan and Conor DeMeo in the same team.
Yeah.
Like the start of the next season, like Niall Bell and John Rooney. Like, together. That's not right. But they did. These things all happened. And yeah, some of the lineups from back then were, very odd seeing those names next to each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you can guess who that clip was sourced by. Give him a shout out.
Our friend and I don't know what you'd call him, but yeah, Chris Eaton. What a guy.
Our friend, and you don't know what you'd call him, Chris Eaton. That's going in the group chat later.
Yeah.
Love that. We've had a quiz question in for you, actually, Ben. From
I know the answer. I know
Ian
the
Dowden.
answer.
What's the one record that County share with one other club that will never be taken away?
Oh, I don't bloody know. Is it some to do with like fucking pies or something like that?
Come on, Hannah.
I don't know.
All right.
I'm so excited. Like, how could I just said to Ian, there's no way that if I know the answers to this, then he doesn't.
Is it like a proper genuine like footballing thing?
Yes.
Or is it like some daft off the pitch, like we used to have a dog or something?
It's a world record.
Oh, yeah, I know it. Yeah. I saw it mentioned on Facebook before. Yeah, I know it.
It was on Facebook.
Yeah, it's someone... Oh, no,
That's
I think
not how I know.
I think it was one of them random football Twitter accounts that
Right.
posted it. Yeah, with a really bad AI photograph.
So in 1946, we played Doncaster, and
the longest name, that one.
Longest game ever. And in the second replay, because that was the first replay, and they just played until someone won, but the light failed, so they had to stop. And then the second replay, Donny won 4-0.
I can't believe it took us time to actually get to that. Oh. Well, something else that I'm killing it with the links this week. Actually, something else that took a while was the appointment of a new CEO.
COO and CEO. Well, it
wasn't. It didn't take a while, really, did it? Because
it was a few 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, no, because they only announced Johnny Vaughan going.
In terms of the CEO, it's almost been seamless. Like, I don't think there was ever Johnny Vaughan. There was an announcement Johnny Vaughan had left, and we are now hunting for a replacement.
No, it's only from talking to people that
it was just
out there. Like
Wilson's been announced as he will be. There was never really a gap to fill. I don't think. I'm sure behind the scenes there's been a transition and everything, but there was never. It's not like in December Johnny Vaughan said he's stepping down and there was a gap. But we did have that with the COO. I think Tom left. Friend of the show, of course, and then his replacement stepped in, didn't he?
Correct. He did. What are your thoughts, Ben, on the Simon Wilson move into CEO then? Because it always strikes me on a regular basis the inability of some fans to read articles, because every post that had the article on was just filled with replies going, "Oh, does this mean we're getting a new director of football?" And it's quite clear in the article. And Sam Byrne has also confirmed the same, because people are reading.
I think it's a net positive. obviously it's a new role for him, which probably takes him a little bit out of his comfort zone, depending on what the reason is. If it's a classic CEO role in terms of like the head of, want of a better word, the business, then some of that is probably going to be outside of what his background is. I think he's kind of more from a pure football background rather than having that remit of club operations and, finance and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think there's probably a learning curve for him, but then all good positions and all good people will embrace that and take it on and hopefully thrive in it. You look at his contribution to the club, excluding little black mark around January 2021, then, you can't really argue with it. And I think regardless of all this, so Stock wouldn't be here without Simon Wilson kind of thing. I have no idea if that's true or not. I think what Wilson has got, and I think is a massive kind of positive for us, he's got that kind of vision and idea. And all right, yeah, people can say, well, he's got a blank checkbook. He's not had a blank checkbook, but having a blank checkbook is one thing. But you've actually got to have the nous and the gumption and the kind of ability to put your plans and visions into action. And you look at where we are now compared to where he came in. And yeah, of course, it helps having the money. But lots of other clubs have got money, have made right balls of things. And look at Carlisle, they were taking over lots of money. They're going to be in the National League next year. So it's not just about having the money. You've got to have someone like that who's got, like I say, the vision, but also the brains and the ability and the nous to actually put it in action. And you look at his record and what he's done with on the football side of things, I think it could be a really shrewd move to have him overseeing everything at the club because, as I'm sure we'll come on to shortly, we need somebody who's shrewd and gets things right at the club because we're prone to the odd error at the moment, aren't we?
Are we not, Hannah? That brings us on nicely. Quite the baptism of fire for him in that role, and for Gavin Bailey as COO, would you not say? A completely self-inflicted baptism of fire as well, because it just really seems as though we can't get any of. I think it's been a criticism for a while that little things just seem to grate. There seems to be little things that we do badly, and we've not even got onto Charlton Town yet. That could be a podcast all of it. So that could be a full-on like Netflix true crime series because there's so many. I am saying now that because Charlton Town appeared on the website when we played them first time round on the ticketing article. So I think someone at the club has made the Charlton Town badge up to take the piss out of the person who made the mistake. And it's somehow found its. That's the only explanation. I can't.
Yeah,
there's
no. We were obviously, Nick, we were talking about this last night. There's no logical reason as to why that exists because it's not like the club have to create every single asset for every other club in the league. Like I know through my work, there's, for want of a better word, almost like this portal or this online resource where you can access club assets. Every club puts these assets into like this online space. And then people like the BBC, they have the club's crest around the league tables and all of this. The BBC can access that. Flash Score, Live Score, like some of, not the betting companies anymore, but these providers who consume this data access it. BBC don't go around creating these individual little crests for every single club, which is why in some divisions, some crests exist and some of them don't, because it depends on where they were when it was last refreshed in the league, all that kind of stuff. So it's not like Liam Richardson or somebody in the media department has been knocking up these, Charlton Athletic and Crystal Palace and Bradford City, whoever else we played this season, crests. So why has someone changed Charlton Athletic to Charlton Town? There isn't a Charlton Town.
No.
Doesn't exist. It's not like they're it's not like they're a Stockport Sports who share a very similar badge and someone has just kind of gone to Google Images and downloaded it by mistake. There's no such club as Charlton Town. And if there is somewhere way down on like a dog league on a Sunday, they don't have that crest. They're not affiliated with Charlton Athletic. So where's it come from? And what does my head in people are like, who cares as long as the team are winning? Like, I care. It makes us look amateur hour. It makes us look like an absolute clown car of a club. And of course, it's not the most important thing, but it is disrespectful. Imagine if we were playing at Charlton and they called us like Stockport City or something like that, and like put City's crest on for us, something like that. When people say we're from South Manchester, people piss themselves and get angry and upset.
Well, I remember one. I mean, we must be going back about 10, 15 years now, but Ashley Peacock in Coronation Street, there was a little throwaway line where someone asked him to do something. He said, "Oh, there's more chance of Stockport County winning the Champions League." And there was Facebook hate groups got started. It's like, "Oh, kill Ashley Squeaky Peacock." I was like, so obviously we wouldn't react well if something like that happened to us. It's so mental. Yeah, and again, when it happened at the away game at the Valley, and someone typed Charlton Town in the copy, it's dumb. Like, if you work for a football club, you should know that kind of thing. And if you don't know that kind of thing, and you're a copywriter who has no interest in football, there should be a process in place for your boss or their boss, or some sign-off process where 2 or 3 people have to proofread something before it goes out. That's clearly not happening unless we've got 2 or 3 people who have no interest in football checking these kind of things.
I think that one as well was just after we played Huddersfield Town, and we said at the time that we thought like it was a copy and paste job, and they just replaced Charlton. Doesn't excuse it.
But as a one-off, that happens. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's fine. But you learn from it, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But stuff is happening now with such regularity. It is virtual. Des like screen print, and he plays his little game, doesn't he? Spot the mistakes. It is almost every time we put something out.
Yeah.
How are we doing that? Where is the kind of control, the quality control, and the just kind of care and attention and a little bit of love in what we're doing? And again, it's not the most important thing. And we're 4th in League One. We could be 3rd tomorrow. Of course, that's more important. And no one's going to stop going because we call Charlton Athletic Charlton Town, but that's not the point. We look like really, it's just amateurish, and there's no excuse for it. When it happens so regularly, there's no excuse for it. Get it sorted.
And that's, I think, there was a conversation on Twitter at the weekend about give, like you said, give them a break. It's, it's a common mistake. It's the frequency and the kind of apparent lack of, I don't know, motivation to change it or improve it.
Des gets people replying to him saying, "Oh, whoever's pointing this out, why don't you get a life?" It's like, but he's not even having to stretch himself to find them. They're just front and centre.
Exactly that. And it's stuff you started off in the season at the start of the season. Getting players like spelling. I think we had a Hinchcliffe this season.
We did have a Hinchcliffe.
At this point, he'd been here 8 seasons, and we're getting his name wrong. I know some people still think he's called Ben Hinchcliffe in the family.
I know.
He is Hinchcliffe, just in case you're not aware of that. And then we had a Lafay spelt wrong. We had Corey Adai squad number wrong. We've had the wrong crests. We've had Gardner. It's. I mean, come on.
We had the shit socks. That was one of my favourites.
Which one was that?
The shit socks.
Exactly.
Shite socks, wasn't it? Instead of white.
Shite socks, that was it.
Yeah. Because exactly like you say, Hannah, everybody gets stuff wrong. That's fine. You make a mistake, but you don't make the same mistake again, or you put something in place as a bit of a safeguard to stop it happening if it's within your kind of wider control, even if you're not the person doing it. But that can't be happening because it happens every single time we put something out. So I don't really blame whoever, the boots on the ground who is doing the typing, because they not clearly, but it feels like they don't know again, it's harsh to say they don't know what they're doing, but they're obviously making mistakes, or this group of people who are doing it are making mistakes. But who is it who is signing this kind of stuff off, or who is responsible ultimately for the output of comms from the club? Because get it fixed. Yeah.
And on the comms front, we've got the another ticketing debacle. It's mad how ticketing debacles have gone from future ticketing absolutely shitting itself at every given opportunity to just an unwillingness or an inability from the club to get tickets out in time for them to be posted out and for people to collect and stuff.
In fairness to the club, it's often, and I don't know if that's the case this time, it's often because the home club sends the actual physical tickets in the actual post, and the club can't put them on sale until they have them in hand. So, you know, if Wigan, for example, have said, yeah, we'll give you an extra, I mean, this kind of goes back to the discussion around initial allocations and what we're asking for, and, you know, what we think we can sell, because that would alleviate some of this issue. But I think that's the defence. I
mean, Wigan, don't wait for them to post them. Just send Steve Bellis across to...
Send Vernon Bear. He's a You're padding up the M62 to go and get him. You'll get the M62. M61 to Wigan, wouldn't you? A couple of things. What am I going to say here? Tickets. There was, I don't know how true it is, there was something shared on the board last week that says the home club has to have provided the tickets to the away club 4 weeks in advance of the fixture.
Oh, really?
That's the league regulation. For a football league regulation. Has to be done 4 weeks in advance. So, and again, you might get some idiot basket case club who, you know, are run really poorly and don't send the tickets in advance.
Reading were late, weren't they?
Reading, perhaps. You know, someone where they haven't got the staff or the care or whatever to get this kind of thing right. But that can't be happening every single week. And maybe it's one of those kind of archaic rules that no one actually pays attention to. And like the actual de facto thing is we just send them 10 days in advance of the club put on sale, whatever it is. But the regulation that was shared was that the home club have to provide the tickets 4 weeks in advance. This isn't the case, of course it's not, but it just feels like we're making it so difficult for fans to go to games now, to away games. And yeah, we put, you know, you could look at, you know, Leyton Orient and say, oh, the tickets were on sale like 3 weeks in advance. Yeah, they were, but then they sold out. And we had a really small initial allocation of like 600 or something. It was small for Orient. We're always going to fill a central London game on a Saturday. Like, anyone who's got any knowledge of county will know that. Even in like the dog years, we used, you know, if we ever played down at Gillingham or something, we would take a decent number. So we're always going to fill that. So they go, and then to leave it so long before they put the next allocation on, and it's a little bit, it doesn't excuse it at Wigan, but it's less of a decision to make because it's only 40 minutes away or whatever. But with London, you know, you're looking at 4 hours in the car minimum, 2 hours on the train, 3 hours travelling time on the train. Ticket prices on the train are a farce. We know how unreliable trains are and how important it is to be able to get train tickets secured and booked early to get even a reasonable price. Every day, almost like every half day, we left it going on and on and on and on before making an announcement, and putting the extra tickets on sale made it more difficult and less likely that fans were going to go to the game, because ticket prices increase, plans change, and it gets to the point, oh, do you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to bother going Orient now. Whereas if the tickets are on sale and they're out there and people can make that decision early, it makes such a difference. And it just feels like we've repeated this with Wigan, and maybe there's been a problem with Wigan. If that's the case, come out and say that. Tell us, because the perception is now that there's just no empathy or there's no understanding from whoever is making these decisions about what the fans want, or kind of what that overall experience of, and the experience of going to a game doesn't begin and end 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. You know, you think stretch that out of when you make that decision to go, which could be 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Right, I want to go to the game now. I'll get a ticket. Oh, they're sold out. Okay. Then they're not sold out because sometimes they dribble back online, but then it's sold out again. Okay, we'll get some more tickets, which were announced middle last week, but they're not putting them on sale. Well, when they're going on sale, well, I can't. No, do you know what? Fuck it, I won't go anymore. And it's that kind of thing. We just can't put those barriers in the way because they're completely avoidable. So I'm ranting. The endorphins are gone now. That's it. I'm back to
Go and do some more exercise. But the other thing about because it was Reading recently, where again delay for them going on general sale. Anyone local was struggling. They said, "Oh, you can pick them up. You can pick them up from the ground, or you can buy them on the gate." I think it was you can buy them on the gate, which was fine. But they were like 28 quid on the gate. I went to, because I was with Cam and he had a ticket in a completely different stand. So, we'll just go and buy another ticket. And like, I asked to swap it. They wouldn't have it. Like, how much is it to buy a new one? Yeah, 28 quid. Like, no, you're all right.
It's like tomorrow night, like Bristol Rovers away. The kind of game, love it. Bristol Rovers on a Tuesday night. Proper, separates the men from the boys, as they say, kind of thing about who's going there.
Yeah.
And we had an allocation of whatever it was, 500. We've sold that, and then silence is like, well, is the potential for more? Is that completely sold out? And then it turns out like 2 days before the game, actually there are going to be tickets available. Like, well, is anyone going to really make the decision to go down to Bristol like the day before? Maybe not.
I'm not sure I'd risk it either. Like, it's the longest way to go.
Exactly. Yeah, and people, it's just like I say, it just feels like there's a complete, I'm sure between us, we go to the vast majority of games. Hannah, I see you, up and down the country. I am
going to Bristol tomorrow.
Exactly. You go everywhere, and it just feels like we're making it really difficult. And people say like people like us, but like you quite often, if you go to the games, and sometimes, if a game is sold out, you can always get hold of a ticket at the last minute. But that's not the point. We are making it difficult for fans to get tickets to our games to go and support the team, and it is not on, and it's not good enough from my perspective as a fan who goes everywhere, and we need to do something about it.
I'm really at pains to point out, because there seems to be this perception that, people just want something to moan about. It's like, well, no, because you put all these... I hate to use the phrase, but match day experience. So with the pies and the courtyard and queuing on the concourse and all that sort of thing. And then, ticket, people aren't, it's not complaining for the sake of it. It's because we're so good at most stuff that when there's something we're not good at, it's a bit jarring.
And I think what we are getting better at as a fan base is being constructive with that. So I'd communicated to the club on yesterday, I think, that there was an issue with the pop side yesterday. So on Saturday, so the pop side queue went right back to Hardcastle Road. And having been in that queue on a normal Saturday, they have one bloke checking bags. Well, it's a family stand. I know it's not, semantics, but it is the family stand. So there's a probably higher proportion of people that have got bags that need checking. And then what happens is the queues kind of ground to a halt while they check bags, and they put the tag on it, and they've got gloves on, so the tag's hard to put on. But it was exacerbated on Saturday, and it will be the case for whatever the next home game is, because the away end was in the railway end. So we had beyond yellow block another full block of home fans, and then some more in block 5. So you've got a much higher volume of people coming through those turnstiles, and it just gets bundled. There's no more turnstiles open. So, right, okay, how do we solve this? Well, you maybe open another turnstile, or you have loads and loads of football clubs have a fast track, no bag lane that and they have a table where they check bags on one side, and that's how they manage it. There are really kind of little inexpensive tweaks that just might make a big difference.
Completely agree. And I think this goes back to my wider point, is that who is essentially living that match day experience as a fan, and that, again, without sounding like a business knob, like who's the considering that kind of customer journey, because that's what we're talking about here. Of the moment you decide to go to a game, which might be 2:30 on a Saturday because you see your mates in a pub on Castle Street. It might be 3 months in advance when you fancy a fixture because you're visiting Stockport. What are all the touch points and interactions with the club that you might have? It might be signing up for a newsletter, or you do that and then it's riddled with errors. then you try and buy a ticket and you can't do that because Future's shit itself again and you can't buy a ticket. And then you turn up on the game and you can't get in because, there's one man checking 3,500 bags. And of course I'm being difficult here and I'm being a bit choose or whatever because I'm picking. There's loads of good stuff there. I turned up on Saturday, not 2:20, whatever the equivalent of 2:20 is. Can't figure that out for a 12:30 kickoff. And walked straight in. There's no queues. Didn't get searched. Couldn't have anything on me. Didn't have to prove a bag. Went straight in. Happy days. It was great. So there's lots of stuff which works well, but again, there is unnecessary obstructions and unnecessary things which I don't want to say we're not paying any attention to, but who is living that matchday experience as a fan? Not just between 2:30 and 5:30 on a Saturday, from the whole touch points thing and trying to make those things better. Who's trying to make getting a pie better? Because it's really, really difficult in the Cheadland, and I don't bother anymore. One, because they've changed the pie supplier, but also because I can't be asked queuing up and watching two people behind the counter chatting to each other, and then someone get to the front of the queue having stood up for 15 minutes, then I don't know what I want, and then and it's, oh mate,
what
come on,
pies have you got?
Yeah, and I'll shout back to the mate what do you want? What do you want? And I'll just go hungry.
One of the things that Tom Mahone did when he started, and I remember talking to him about it, was he didn't do, when he went to away games and a lot of home games, he didn't, sit in wherever the leadership team sit. Yeah. He was in the stands and kind of living that experience. So maybe some of those exercises need repeating.
Completely. Be interesting to see if Gavin Bailey does that when he's got his feet on the table. Hannah, have you had any dealings with Gavin Bailey yet? Or?
Only I've met him at the DI External Working Group. So he's replaced Tom on that panel. We have a kind of we've got a WhatsApp group, which I love. It's great for sharing really lovely, positive county stories, but it's also a feedback mechanism that we can share back our experiences as fans, whether they are DEI related or just kind of normal match day.
Get me I'll be to it.
I get kicked off, but Gavin isn't on that, which probably isn't a bad thing, depending on where his focuses are. But so that's the only kind of exposure I've had to him.
How about you, Ben?
Yeah, just for that, just to add about Tom, and I think, I think you're dead right. He didn't, he did go in some of the away kind of corporate ends, but you would often, I see him Orient when we had that 3-0 game, that amazing day, April 2020. I think him and James Jennings, I think Sam Minnihan were there, and they were there on the piss in the away end, and felt like there was, and you look at kind of Tom's almost, again, it sounds a bit naff, but his credentials as a fan. He went all over Europe and Northern Ireland, big Glentoran fan and everything. So, and I think he kind of got that, which I think made a difference in some of the changes that were implemented in his time, kind of reflected that overall, again, that match day experience. With Gavin, I have met him. I did a couple of hours with him a couple of weeks ago at the club, discussed various things regarding day-to-day things that are going well, and there's loads of stuff that's going well, some things going less well, some of which were accepted, some of which were challenged, some ideas I had around some other bits and pieces, but also how we could look to use the shirt collection I've got to help. Because I think with me, without turning this into all about me and stuff, but I think what we have there now is something that hardly any other club in the country has, this resource and archive of, it's not even just shirts, of heritage and culture and history. What's it doing sat in my house? Why aren't we doing stuff with it? Why aren't we doing events with players, ex-players, engaging the community and the wider fan base and inspiring people about our history? And that's the most powerful vehicle we've got. So some ideas around that, not too sure where it's going. with it. But yeah, met him a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I think anyone who says people are just moaning for the sake of it, I might just clip up that whole chat we had then and just stick it on a Google Drive and just say, no, this is it, 'cause we've nailed that.
And just last point on that is that why do you think we dedicate so much energy and emotion and everything to what we're talking about here? It's because it really, really matters. It's probably to all of us outside of kids or whatever, it's the most important thing in our lives. And of course it is. Like, who books a day off work to go to Bristol on a Tuesday night in February? Gillingham and Colchester, within the last 12 months as well. I'm going to grow up and just watch it on telly or something. But no, of course we're going to do. I'm hiring a car tomorrow because my wife has got our car. Hiring a car to go to Bristol for Tuesday night and taking a day off work to go. I've got Leeds Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock as well. So it matters, it's important. And when we see stuff which doesn't meet or match the same emotion or the importance we give stuff, and stuff which is so easily put right, it's really, really annoying. So I am going to complain about it, and I'm not going to stop complaining about it, and I'm not going to apologise for it. So recognise where it's coming from. We're not just sat here slagging people off or putting the boot in. That's rubbish. Like, listen to what we're saying and where we're coming from, and please, hear us on this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that's been nailed there. I've very much had enough of being Tim Pot. I've done my Tim Pottery time. I don't want us to be Tim Pot for at least another. I think I said I think it was when Will was on the show with us the other week, but I said I'd love to get to the Premier League, have our time there, and then just sink back down to National League North and do it all over again. So I'm quite happy for the Tin Pot time to start then. Let's do our best not to be Tin Pot. Right, we've just touched on Bristol Rovers then. We'll chat about Bristol Rovers and about Wigan after this. So, Hannah, Bristol Rovers tomorrow, 9 points picked up from their last 5 league games, having picked up just 1 point in their previous 7. They're still 5 points above the drop, but Burton and Shrewsbury seem to be slowly getting their shit together. We should win this one, shouldn't we?
Yes, on paper. But given that we have won 5 in a row and beaten Barnsley and Orient in there as well, then of course we'll get unstuck by the kind of middle of the road opposition that you would expect to be a walk in the park. They didn't play on Saturday. They were supposed to play Wycombe, who obviously had cup commitments. So that plays into it maybe a little bit, but equally, we do well in kind of times of confidence, and it's not, if you look back to the run last season of sequential wins, it almost becomes kind of cultural, and that's what you do. I think Charlie will be concentrating on that second half. We need to do enough in the first half to be in control. If that's not going to happen, if that's not materializing, but they're also going to be attuned to that in terms of, every opposition club does the research. All right, what we need to do is hold County in the first half and then score against them in the second. So I wouldn't like to say walk in the park. I'm not looking forward to the drive back should my fears materialize. But I wouldn't expect I'd still let's say 2-1 type situation, or 1-2.
I think we're in one of them. I'm fully expecting it to come soon for us to go away somewhere and hammer somebody. It feels like we're now we are quite clearly in one of those mad county/Challoner runs. It just does feel like we're going to start, especially if we do sort out the second half. And I actually prefer, because we've got 1-5 in a row without, and we've had five good halves in that. we've played well for 50% of that run, really, and yet we've won 5 in a row. So if we can really click and get going in the second half, Ben, would you say it's fair for me to say we've got quite an interesting history of games at Bristol Rovers? Always been quite eventful, hasn't it? If you think back to the postponement that was probably manufactured by them because they were playing Bristol City a few days later, Ricky Lambert giving it out.
That would have been our 9th game in the 9 in a row.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Bristol Rovers game. Obviously wasn't to be, so we set the record against Swindon the week later. And then we lost the rescheduled game again on a Tuesday night in March. Michael Rowe scored direct from a corner, I seem to remember. And that was the night the Ricky Lambert pantomime villain really kind of was born, because we were giving him stick. I don't really know why, because he was just an ex-player who'd been reasonable without being fantastic or without being particularly terrible for us. Yeah. And we were just on at him all night, and we were stood on that stupid little terrace in the corner. And then he scored, and he came proper arms out in front of us. It was great. Everyone getting really angry and upset about it. Love it when that happens. And then other memories of there. Mark Hughes, Everton loanee, scored in a 2-2 draw in February 2006 under Gannon.
Everton loanee and now Bolton assistant manager.
Yeah, we were 2-0 down, and he scored. He might have been given us an own goal, actually, but he definitely was involved in one of the goals under Jim when Jim first came in. John Jeffers long-range goal early 96, 97, which I actually think was Cavaco's debut. Which I find
was Cavaco's debut. Yeah,
Cavaco was around in August. For me, he didn't exist until around the West Ham game.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, just sprung into being.
Yeah, he played as early as August. I think that was their first game at the that memorial tip.
It was their first game at the moment, and there's a problem with the goalposts as well because
they're right.
Which contributed to
the rugby posts off, haven't they?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Yeah, I posted that yesterday, actually, courtesy of Chris Eaton. Yeah, do you know when our last win at Brighton was?
I do. 1995. It's our only win since the late 60s.
Correct. It is. Yes.
I think Ben Thornley. Did Ben Thornley score there once in 95?
I will double check for you right now. I have the spreadsheet open as we speak. Yeah, that would have been Ben Thornley. Ben Thornley, Alan Armstrong, and Jeff Eckhart in a 3-1 win there in November 95. Yeah,
that is.
So, yeah, it was a good month for Jeff Eckhart that because he scored the hat trick against Lincoln in the cup.
Kept it clean.
Yes, and then he scored in the cup game against Blythe Spartans after Bristol Rovers as well. So quite a purple patch for him.
And he very nearly scored against Everton in the replay in the January at the Cheadle end. He just went like wide of Southall's far post.
Yeah,
so that would have been nice. Bristol Rovers. What else? We haven't played there since 2010, 2009-10. I think. Did we lose 2-0? I think.
2009, 10.
Like the absolute death spiral.
We lost 1-0 in March 2010. Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, that was just like, why are you bothering? Like, just give them the 3 points. We're not going to win. Yeah.
I do miss them days in a weird way.
Bristol Rovers.
That takes us on nicely to Saturday. I mean, I've been asking this question for a couple of weeks, Ben, but are we in whisper it quietly territory, or is it going beyond that?
Completely. Whisper it quietly, but Stockport County are, they're coming up. I say this every week, wouldn't take a point tomorrow night at all. I think we're far better than that. Wouldn't take a point against any team in the league now. If we were going to St Andrews tomorrow night, wouldn't take a point.
I think you look at our run of form we've got coming up. It's quite a while before we're playing a team that's in and around that top 6. It's a real opportunity now to put a marker down.
Yeah, and we've got to be realistic. We've got to be realistic, I don't know, and say that we're not going to win every game. And I'm not saying we're going to win every game till the end of the season, but it's a favourable run of fixtures, whatever that means. If you look at who we've got Bristol Rovers tomorrow, Wigan. Stupid little club. I don't like Wigan. We can beat them.
No, don't care. Don't care about Wigan.
Beat Cambridge, Blackpool, I'll win them 4. There you are. We're laughing. That'll be 9 in a row. Easy.
Yeah, that's it.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. Simple.
I'll take a draw with. No, I wouldn't take a draw with Charlton. But if we then drew with Charlton, that would be 28 points from 30. And Matt Bryant, how many cliches you going for, Nick? Listen.
I beat me to it. I was just getting ready to say that to what you said about Charlton.
Yeah.
Oh God. On to that horrible little club who we don't give a shit about, Wigan. Then away on Saturday, they made Fulham sweat a fair bit on Saturday for losing 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah, just 2 clubs I cannot give a shit about at all. Just we were playing both of them. In the football when I first started going.
Just as a complete aside, and it's probably completely the wrong podcast for this, but I ask this sometimes at work. Like, not that we care about the Premier League, but given a lot of the clubs we've played in our past are now in the Premier League, what's the worst ever Premier League fixture, do you reckon? In terms of like a Wigan v Fulham or like a Swindon v Oldham or something like that.
I mean, I think given where both the clubs are now, then Swindon Oldham will be up there.
Bradford.
Oh, yeah.
Clubs have got no business being in the Premier League.
Well, Brentford Fulham is another one, but I mean, I've got nothing against Brentford, but at the same time, well, no, we've got it. It's Norwich West Brom, Norwich West Brom, and Burnley should not be allowed in the Premier League ever again. Yeah. They should just have to play each other every week until the end of time. Sheffield United as well. None of them have any business being in the Premier League anymore. They've had the chance. Yeah. Burnley had a great time there, but no, they shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, just make them play each other every time until we get hurtled into the sun. That's fine by me.
Crystal Palace are beating Donny 2-0, by the way, just for
our standard
interest.
Have they done the draw yet? Has that happened?
Yeah.
Yes, they are at home to Millwall, the winners of Palace. So we could have had a lovely run.
I know.
Yeah. Fantastic run to the quarter final.
They've got City, haven't they?
City.
At City, which they're not happy about, and that's restored my faith in football fans. The fact that Plymouth fans aren't jumping for joy at the prospect of a trip to Man City.
I've got a really good mate. He's a Plymouth fan. He lives in Sale. His dad goes down virtually every home game.
Bloody hell, that's commitment, that, innit? Yeah. I've always I'd love a Plymouth or a Bristol City to make it. It's astonishing that cities that size haven't had a Premier League club. But Bristol City never even seemed to be knocking on the door. I remember late night.
It must be the day before. Was it the day before when we beat Rochdale?
Yeah, that was the closest they come.
It wasn't. It was the Saturday they lost to Hull, didn't they? Dean Windass pinged one in, and then the Sunday was Leeds Doncaster. And Doncaster beat that. Doncaster beat Leeds.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. That was a close. I remember late 90s. I got some. It was like some little fact file, some football like file facts thing, and you collected it every couple of weeks. And it had bits for all the Premier League clubs and stuff. And then they picked out some of the top Championship sides. And Bristol City was one of the ones they picked. And I was always so confused by it. I was always like, what have Bristol City ever done? And it's still the same now. Yeah, just nothing. Nothing.
Couldn't tell you anything about them, Bristol City. I know they play Ashton. They play in red.
That's it.
Pearson, the manager, still is he there? He was.
Did they beat United? Was it last season or the season before in the cup or something? That was when I think Pearson. Nothing to say about it. I much prefer Bristol Rovers to Bristol City. I could probably tell you more. I don't know if it's because we've played them more. I'm not sure. So yeah, Wigan currently in 16th. I think if you look at them, I know that their fans probably won't agree, but looking at it from the outside, they should be expecting to finish roughly there. That's their level. You could argue we're being generous, saying mid-table in League One's their level, but most of their points seem to have come against sides. Quite getting back down there. Yeah, I've not even mentioned Dave Whelan and his leg, but it just seems most of their points have come against teams they should.
Played an FA Cup final, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh God. I see. I'll be glad when they sink back down to non-league, just so we never have to hear all that again.
Yeah.
I think they had a televised cup game last season. And it got brought up. It's no, it got done when they won it. And it's just. But I mean, Wigan were genuinely really torrid when we played them earlier in the season, but so were we. We'd not really got going though.
Yeah, like got no. I don't know why. I've just got like no time for Wigan at all.
No.
I mean,
the most famous thing to come out of Wigan is the Verve, and they get billed as a Manchester band, which just says it all. Even they don't want to jump onto the whole Wigan thing. So, the most famous thing about you is a pie and a balm. That's it.
Satellite Manchester towns where like people who are from there consider it a personality trait. Like being from Wigan or being from Bolton, like, and we just do like this whole Peter Kay shtick.
Yeah.
All right, nice one.
Yeah, no more of that. No more of that. So I saw when you just said to me in a private chat, Hannah, 147, and I thought you were referring to my crisp 147. You're gonna love this, Ben. So so at our next live event, I want to have the live event somewhere that's got like a snooker or pool table, and I want to do a crisp 147. So 15 bags of ready salted. You're gonna, and I just want to go like red colour. You have all different flavours. I want to see what happens. I want to film it for posterity, and I just want to see how it goes.
I think
we'll charge people for like a snuff film or something.
Yeah, leave it on the dark web.
It will be that will signal my. But I think that'd genuinely be. I don't know. It's just something wacky. I've got a lot of time in my life for whimsy, and I think
it sounds like it.
But 15 bags of ready salted though. I think 2 would kill me off.
Depends on the brand. Which one you're going for?
Well, that's it. You'd have to go Walkers, wouldn't you? But it's going to be a pricey do, so maybe you are best off going for the multi.
Go Costco, get a big box though. You'd be all right.
Yeah, we'll send someone down Costco. Everyone will crowdfund it, and everyone else can pay for the crisps and just watch me.
Have we got all the colours? All the colours sorted for crisps?
Yeah. So you'd have. Black would probably be. There's like a rib flavour one, or smoky bacon. I think is a very dark colour.
No, smoky bacon's like a dark red, like burgundy.
No, I think Walkers do like a barbecue one. Yeah, that'll be the one. I think that's like close to black. Yellow, you'll have roast chicken if we're going Walkers.
It's more orange, but.
I think I can go over. Stop putting roadblocks in the way of me killing myself, Ben.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
It's very kind of like Jeremy Osborne, this, isn't it? In terms of like,
just take hold of him. Yeah, this is right up his street. Right, before we go, Ben, tell the people about Dave Smith Never Existed, because we're due for another one soon.
We are. So that is our deep dive into the more statistical history of Stockport County. What was the last one we did? Was that Christmas?
Yeah, we did Christmas. We did the festive fixtures. Yeah.
So we did festive fixtures. That I assume that's available to watch and consume. Somewhere.
Available to watch on YouTube or consume audio-wise. But why would you want the audio?
Pantheon, isn't it?
Very much so.
So the next kind of circus and carnival of fun, haven't actually decided yet, but I do keep threatening to do some kind of shirt-based frenzy. Don't quite know how we're going to do it. Rather than would it just be people like?
I think we could do it live, and people can just request shirts and.
Yeah, I think so. I could just. I mean, I don't know how much appetite there is for an hour's worth of me picking shirts off a rail and talking through them for 3 or 4 minutes.
I'm into it. That's the main thing.
But yeah, if it's just me and you, Nick, it's an evening well spent.
Yep.
That's the kind of thing we're looking to do. Now, it's not on Patreon. It's not premium. It's accessible to all. Is that right? Is it accessible to all?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was going to go around knocking on people's doors and asking them for donations, but fine. Yeah, we'll just give it to all of them.
No, we're not putting things behind paywalls. We're making things available for everyone. So, if you have any ideas about topics you'd like us to explore, then let us know.
Yes.
Wherever or however you would do that, let us know. Otherwise, we will just come up with some stuff and give it to you.
How would people get in touch with us, Hannah? And what should they do whilst they're doing that?
They should like and subscribe, and they should comment on Twitter or YouTube or any other means necessary.
Very good, nailed that. Right, I think we've done a great hour and 10 minutes of county content there to 150 people across the YouTubes and the Twitters, which is very good. So we'll probably hit 500 in total again this week. Boom.
Massive.
Put that on my CV.
That's more than we used to take to away games not that long ago.
It is, yeah.
It's not far off what we had for a home game in 2013 and 28. As recent as 2018, we only had 800 at a home game against Kidderminster.
We did, the Kidderminster game, yeah.
Fraser Horsfall played for Kidderminster.
He did, because there was a reason that I looked that up the other week, and I can't remember. I think there was another reason.
I think it was a quiz question. Did he score? Did he concede a penalty? Score an own goal and get sent off or something?
One of them, yeah.
Somebody did some catastrophic event in a game. We drew at their place, and then we beat them 3-0 January 2018 to set up Maidenhead away, which was massive at the time. Maidenhead away.
If you're a National League team, yeah. My biggest regret as a county fan was that we never brought home the Build Base FA Trophy. So upsets me that way.
It was always up for
all that money.
What was it called when we first dropped? Wasn't the Build Base?
Was it Isuzu?
No, that's what it is now.
Is that what it is now?
What was it called? What was the Build Base called before Build Base? Like Vauxhall, I think? No, it wasn't there.
Well, we're going to have a look now.
That's enough for Hannah. She's done. Yeah.
Fully had enough. Yeah,
you're going to plumb. I'm off.
She did say she was feeling a bit sick before, so maybe an hour of chatting bollocks.
Does anyone know in the comment, without Googling it, obviously don't Google it because that's easy. Does anyone actually know what the FA Trophy was sponsored before Build Base? I'd assume we took part in that. So I'm trying to.
Even the Wikipedia doesn't seem to have the list of sponsors.
We've not had a sponsor before Build Base.
Well, back in 2002, it was the FA Umbro Trophy, but it certainly wasn't that when we played in it.
That's very non-league. The Umbro Trophy.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. It must have been. Did Vanarama have it as well? I'm not sure.
No, because when we first dropped, it wasn't even Vanarama. It was Skrill for a season, wasn't it?
Skrill, yeah. We're Blue
Square Premier for 2 years, and then we had the Skrill North, and then it was Vanarama. But it was the Vanarama Conference. Vanarama Conference North and South, and then it became a National League.
National League, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Well, if someone can get in touch and let us know on the history of the sponsors.
That 500 viewers has just nosedived, hasn't it?
Well, no, because people are tuning on. We're still at 150 now, but people still get on catch up, and they won't know that we're going to spend ages wondering what the sponsor of the FA Trophy used to be. That's going to annoy me now. I'm not going to sleep tonight because I can't. It's not immediately available on Google.
I can't believe that. Everyone can sit here and watch me Google stuff.
We'll find out. Nick. We'll have an answer. Yes, don't forget we are sponsored, of course, by Blackbird Kitchen, your friend and mine. I've always wanted to say your friend and mine on a podcast. First time I've got that.
Yeah. Andy, lovely man. Tremendous pansman, we called him the other week, didn't we?
Pansman, yes. Pansman, yeah. On the pans.
Yeah, exactly that. So, yeah, very good. I can't find the answer to this question.
I will have the answer for you by next week, but hopefully by tonight, because otherwise I won't sleep. Right, let's say goodbye to everyone. We will be live next Monday from 8 p.m. with reaction to the Bristol Rovers and Wigan games and all the other gubbins, and probably some bad social media comms from the club to chat about, because that's...
Let's set a little challenge for the club. Let's see, how many errors do you think there are going to be between now and next Monday? Is it going to be...
Do I need to get that meme?
Like 0 to 3, like 4 to 6, 6 like 7+.
We'll have a poll on Twitter. Do I need to get the thing of Dwight and Jim from The Office where it's like 0 days since our last nonsense? I think I'm going to need one of them. I've got a whiteboard, actually. I'll get it up behind me for next week. Right, we will go. Say goodbye to everybody, Ben.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.